For those that watched my last video, did you notice I deliberately didn't mention that was video 8 of 10? So today is 9 of 10, and yes, I do have a topic. Again, I will do more videos depending on your requests. But yeah, today's topic is, were you aware that God himself made some very strange and odd requests of man? So that is today's topic, the odd requests made by God himself. One I touched on in my very first video I addressed, which was Genesis chapter 22, in which a father was asked to sacrifice his son for no reason. Well, today I'll be touching on some more odd requests of God. And after all, this is Dubious Scriptures, and I am your host, Mr. Unique Thought. And let's go ahead and cover those some more of those unique requests as well. We'll be starting today in Genesis, as I usually start. I try to start in Genesis, keep things in order for those who want to follow along. Anyway, we will start in Genesis, which will be chapter 17, 9 through 14. I will be reading from both the King James versions and the New World Translation of the Holy Scriptures. God said further to Abraham, "As for you, you are to keep my covenant, you and your offspring after you, throughout their generations. This is my covenant between me and you and your offspring. After you will keep every male among you must get circumcised. You must circumcise the flesh of your foreskins, and it will serve as a sign of the covenant between me and you. Throughout your generations, every male among you, 8 days old, must be circumcised. Anyone who was born in the house and anyone who is not one of your offspring, and who was purchased with money from a foreigner. Every man born in your house and every man purchased with your money must be circumcised. And my covenant in your flesh must serve as a lasting covenant. If any uncircumcised male will not circumcise the flesh of his foreskin, that person must be cut off from his people. He has broken my covenant." Okay? Odd. Very odd that God would make this request as a show of I guess faith, or like this covenant, this agreement they have with God, these things, this nature. I don't understand the purpose of the genital. Like, why cut the genital area or the skin? Like, what is the purpose of that? It's not like they were going to run around and be like, "Yo, you sticking to God's covenant? Let me see." Like, you're not, come on now. Like, I mean, they were clothed for the most part, since they were no longer running naked like they did in the Garden of Eden. So like, what was the purpose? Like, they would know if others were circumcised or not, unless they did it all themselves. Just a very odd request. It's just very strange. I mean, why not? And I understand the idea of a covenant can just be outer, like your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, your words. It has to be internalized as well. That's at least what I'm getting out of it. That is something that must be internalized, but that's not something you can show, or at least I don't think they were showing it. Hey, I'm circumcised. I'm in a covenant. Look, there's the proof. I don't see that occurring. So even still, why couldn't it have been, if it had to be something related to a body circumcision, or like something related to the body, why couldn't it have been an ear piercing, or maybe a bone shard through the skin of the chest above the heart, or something of that nature? I don't know. Like, this foreskin request just seems very odd. It seems more so like just a practice of man's beliefs and things of that nature versus a request from God. Just seems extremely strange and odd. And I want to cover also in the King James Version, which is same chapter 17, but 24 through 27. And Abraham was 90 years old and 9 when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. I'm sorry, yeah, in the flesh of his foreskin, and Ishmael, his son, who was 13 years old when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. In the self same day was Abraham circumcised and Ishmael his son, and all the men of his house, born in the house and bought with money of the stranger, were circumcised with him. So they obviously carried out God's request. At the time, Abraham was actually uh, 99 years old, as the scripture stated. And what was odd also is, which helps you understand why man did a lot of the things they did. And no, I am not justifying slavery ever, but it helps you understand why they follow some of these things in the Bible. It said men purchased. So they were, he had the favor of God, yet he still owned a slave, or at least multiple slaves, and they had to be circumcised as well. Again, very strange. I mean, if I was one of those guys or a part of that family or household, etc., I would have a problem with a man reaching for my genitals to snip. Like, man, you got to think about it. This is back in the days. They didn't have the medicines we have nowadays to help with pain and things of that nature, the bandages and things like that. So just imagine the pain they had to endure, especially being a man. And even the poor children that they had to do, since the covenant said any male 8 years and up had to get circumcised. Like, geez, like, that's just pretty odd to me, and it's strange. It's a very strange request to come from God. It just seems like there should have been maybe some other type of agreement to prove their, I guess, their agreement, or to hold this covenant, versus dealing with the Gentile. Just very, very odd. And as a parent myself, I would have a problem doing that to my child. I can even understand, from a parent aspect again, like take a mother, for example. I'm pretty sure she felt like, you're not cutting on my newborn child, 8 days old, you're putting this pain through him. Even when you read further in the Bible, it said that Jesus himself was circumcised. And I'm like, okay, why? This was God's son. He was going to keep the covenant regardless. He didn't have to be put through that pain when he was going to endure some serious pain coming in the future anyway, having to, bear his own item that he would be nailed to, and things of that nature. It's like he had to endure that pain that early on as well, just because. I don't know. Let's take Job, for example, which that was another odd thing that occurred to him that I covered in the previous video. Job, the Bible mentioned nowhere about him being circumcised, not before his trials he went through by Satan's old bogus request, nor after. And it said he lived, I think, 140 years. Please don't quote me in case I'm making an error. He lived a long time before he passed, and it never said nothing about him or his family getting circumcised. So, and he was an upright, righteous man who served God, and it was in God's favor, yet it wasn't required of him. So you see my point. This request was asked again in Joshua chapter 5 verses 2 through 3. Jeez, what's up with the tongue tie? And that was a nice gap between Genesis and Joshua, and all the men in between who served God and was in his favor. No mention of them getting circumcised and all of their people having to be circumcised. And again, don't quote me, maybe I'm missing some things, but it's just an odd request, very odd. You have to do this to your Gentile area to keep this covenant. Again, the mention of me sharing Jesus was circumcised. It's a fair belief to say that his 12 disciples more than likely were circumcised as well, since they were his followers. Yet Judas still betrayed him, even being circumcised and keeping the covenant and being side by side with God's son. He still betrayed him. So again, it's like the foreskin cutting was irrelevant. It should be what's in the man's heart and what's in here to keep a covenant. And again, his actions, his words, not the cutting of his skin. So I don't know, just strange, very odd. Very strange. So I do want to cover another in Isaiah chapter 20, 2 to 3. I'm going to read the King James Version with this one. At the same time spake the Lord by Isaiah, the son of Amos, saying, Go and loose the sackcloth from off thy loins, and put off thy shoe from thy foot. And he did so, walking naked and barefoot. And the Lord said, Like as my servant Isaiah hath walked naked and barefoot 3 years for a sign and wonder upon Egypt and upon Ethiopia. So, yeah, this man had to walk naked for 3 years, also barefooted. Was there no concern of him stepping on a nail? Or, well, I guess nails didn't really exist back then, but some type of nail, I'm sure. Stepping on glass or something that hurt his foot. 3 years. And I question also, what did this prove? Like, I looked further, that did this message get to the people, and like, did they heed the warning? And as I read, no, they didn't. They still continued in their ways, and the land was destroyed and taken over by other individuals. So the message wasn't even received, and it's like this was done in vain. And the message was, of course, that when they will be taken over, this was like a foretelling. When they will be taken over, they will be led away naked and barefooted. And I get it, but could you not just relieve that? Share that message another way. Like, just blatantly say, this is what's going to become of you. Why make someone who is in your favor and in good standing with you walk naked for 3 years and barefooted? I don't know the weather. But what if it was cold? Like, what if, you know what I'm saying? If it's raining, he had to be out there getting soaked and wet in the rain, walking because he had to go somewhere or something like that. Possibly getting sick. I don't know. I know he had God's favor, so maybe God made it where he did not get sick. But these are just concerns. It's like, and if you made him walk naked to be this prophet, to show this is what's going to become of them in the future, they will be beaten and led away naked. Why not let someone else do it? Or why was this individual the only one that had to do it? Why not have others join in him in this embarrassment? And I know he wasn't shamed because he was a prophet, as the Bible points out. He was carrying on God's will. But I question, did people not look at him strange and judge him? And maybe some people may have wanted to attack him. Hey, you in front of my child naked like this, you fool? What's wrong with you? But I searched. I did not find that in the Bible anywhere that he received any type of persecution from man or judgment from man, which I got a challenge with that, or a concern with that. Like, how could the Bible leave out those details? We're talking 3 years. This man walked around naked and barefooted. And you mean to tell me not one person out there said something like, what's wrong with that fool? Or laughed at him, or just anything, no support anywhere in the Bible of those details. And again, things like that shouldn't be left out because a story is being told, and I get it, the greater message is hidden within. But at the same time, what about all that in between? 3 years is a long time. Even back then, I'm sure 3 years was a long time to be barefooted and naked in front of everyone. So just a very odd request of God, and I just don't get it. I do not get it. One more, Ezekiel chapter 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to read the King James versions first. So it says, Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, eat that thou findest, eat this roll, and go speak unto the house of Israel. So I opened my mouth, and he caused me to eat that roll. And he said unto me, Son of man, cause thy belly to eat, and fill thy bowel with this roll that I give thee. Then did I eat it, and it was in my mouth as honey for sweetness. Really? Okay, let's read the New World Translation of the Holy Scriptures and see what it says. Ezekiel 3 1 through 3. Once more. Then he said to me, Son of man, eat what is before you. Eat this scroll and go speak to the house of Israel. So I opened my mouth, and he made me eat this scroll. He went on to say to me, Son of man, eat this scroll that I am giving you, and fill your stomach with it. So I began to eat it, and it was as sweet as honey in my mouth. All right? All right. This man was asked by God to eat paper, a scroll. I wonder how long was this scroll was. You know, a lot of images we've seen on TV and even in different pamphlets or so, scrolls like these things that roll open and they're like really big. Like, did he have to eat that whole thing, or and was it multiple scrolls? Again, what was the purpose of this? If this man was doing your will, he believed in you, and he had your favor, why would you make him do this? Why would you make him eat a scroll? Um, I'm sure there was, again, some deep meaning behind it, but I wonder, did Jesus have to eat a scroll? I mean, like, I get it. The somewhere in here, the message is this is a great burden of words you have to share with people. And I guess eating of the scroll is like internalizing it versus just speaking it or saying it, reading it, etc., etc. You have to internalize these words and speak them to these people. Well,